It's our first official InsurGrid Mastermind. Doc Bagley is a mastermind himself. But Josh, to start, would love to just learn a little bit more about yourself and your agency. And others on the call, feel free to jump in or feel free to chat any questions you may have.
Awesome. Yeah, no, man, appreciate you having me. And I love this product. It's one of those things where you wonder how you've done your job as effectively and efficiently as you think you have over the last, however long you've been in insurance. And for me, that's this is year 12. So I'm about to actually, this week will be 12 years in insurance. I was captive before. I spent 11 years with like a Farm Bureau type carrier, and then launched as an independent. It was kind of mid-March, really. April the 1st was the official start date. So things have been hot and heavy here early on. A lot of my old clients are finding me, and then got a pretty good little lead generator type setup that helps a lot. And so anything that I can do to be more efficient to close business and get all that stuff, all the information that you need on the front end makes life so much easier. And that was where kind of towards the end of my career there with the captive, I ran across you guys, and it's one of those things where it sounds too good to be true. I think in the first video, I called it voodoo magic, because that's what it feels like, man. It's something, it almost feels illegal, but you guys have assured me time and time again that we're good, and it is. It's very, very helpful. It has more than paid for itself, and I know it will continue to do so going forward. But there's no way I could have transitioned into the independent world had I not had you guys, and so I can't thank you enough for that. Yeah, it's just like anybody that's been in insurance, you know how it is. Somebody will call you, you run into them on the street, they send you an email, and then you type out, or you have a template or whatever that you send to them with everything that you need, and then they'll send you half of it, or they'll send you a picture of an insurance card that speaks nothing to coverage. And then even when you get to the back end of it, you've got the quote, you got everything that you think looks good, you're trying to match coverage. And then you get to the end, you need the mortgage company information, or you need the finance company for a vehicle, and all of that is there on those former deck pages. It's all been done. That part is generally correct. So you just copy it over, and it just makes life so much easier, man. But for me, everything comes in largely with Facebook messages as of late, and then with email stuff. And so the dashboard is nice because it keeps it all in one spot for me. I'm not hunting different emails. I'm not hunting, do I go back and forth? It kind of takes all these different avenues that people message me, text message, whatever, and puts it all back into the dashboard to where I can just knock it out as we go. And the archive feature's huge. Appreciate that, to where I can kind of check them off my list of who I've taken care of so far. But yeah, the majority of it for me, walking people through it, and the more that you can communicate on the front end, just like when you're trying to sell a policy, you tell them, hey, this quote is subject to change if the information changes. And so I'll tell them, this is what it's doing, this is what it's going to ask you for. It takes you 90 seconds, and boom, here's the link, walk you through it. And I have had very, very little pushback on that. I would say the success rate of them doing the link is probably 80-90%, something like that. The more that you can kind of sell them on the link, and then the more comfortable they are with it. But usually if they're emailing or Facebook messaging me, they're pretty comfortable with technology anyway. And if I can tell them what it's going to do, then they're totally on board with it. Yeah, I pulled some screenshots here. There we go. Yeah, so this is just a screen grab of a Facebook message. The guy sent it to me. And a lot of these people kind of know who I am, or they know my name. I'm not cold dropping this in their inbox, but it's just a very casual conversation. And so, if you use the link below, it'll walk you through collecting it, your dates of birth, and all that good stuff. So it takes 90 seconds. So that's kind of the sales pitch for me, is just letting them know that it is extremely quick for them to do. Even if it takes them 3 minutes, who cares? They're in there already. It's them clicking the link and getting to roll with it. Let's see if it'll let me go to the next one. There you go. There's another one. Man, this guy, he's a new dad, so we're kind of talking kids here at the top. and then it just goes into the, this is what it's going to need: date of birth, driver's license number, and that kind of prefaces it for them that they're going to need a little bit of information to enter. So if they need their wife's date, or hopefully they know their wife's date of birth, but the driver's license number, if they need to get that from them, then they can put it all in there in one spot. And then I also like to mention that it's so I can match your coverage. And so they understand that it's not me just trying to see what the other premium is. Like, I want to match the coverage, and then we can roll from there. Just another one, I was trying to search by something that would bring these up. Farmers is always really easy for them to do it. There it is. It'll ask for everybody's birthdays and all that good stuff. So it takes about 2 minutes, and it's all just very similar. This lady worked at the school with my mom that my mom used to work at. Same thing. Driver's license numbers, birth dates. Just tell them on the front end what to expect, and the close rate goes through the roof. This is more of an email template. Very much same kind of setup. And I mean, you guys know how it is. It's not rocket science by any means. Let's see if it'll. So this is the other one. This is a little more salesy, but I try to hit them with the link. This is the link. It takes you 90 seconds, or I'm going to need all this information from you. So in my opinion, if I can kind of overwhelm them with, hey, well, if I don't click this link, I got to fill out all this information for this guy to give me a quote, then what are you going to do at the end? And I think one of the templates, I may have even, the link will walk you through the information. It's super quick and easy. So it kind of pivoted back to the link to get them to fill it out. Some of them will still, even if they don't click the link, what's so frustrating is they'll fill out half this information. And I'm like, all right, well, I still have to go back to them with another follow-up email. So if they do it on the front end, it just makes life so much easier for everybody. And then this, I was hoping I'd have an actual copy. So this is one of my guys that's coming on, and he wanted to put the InsurGrid QR code on his business card. So those should be here any day, but it's just another avenue of getting it out there. If you run into somebody in town, you hand them that. And now everybody with the COVID stuff is used to clicking for the menus at restaurants or whatnot. So the QR code's kind of made a comeback. In my opinion, I didn't really use them until COVID hit. And so now everybody's familiar with it. They hit it with their phone and they can walk right through it, and you can collect deck pages. So I'm excited for him to get that. But yeah, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's just, again, trying to communicate it with them effectively. And the more you tell them on the front end, the more comfortable they are with you. And the more likely they are to click that link and fill it out. It's the same kind of stuff. I mean, then I'll forward them emails of where I've used it, or they, little screen grabs like that, and you just kind of show it to them, and they'll understand it. Like, we're all people, and they know what makes them more comfortable to click something like that. And the biggest part is putting that username and password. People get kind of weird about it, but if they halfway know you and you can tell them all it's going to do, then they usually don't balk at it. But yeah, the staff hadn't had an issue with it. It's effective for them too. And it all comes back to that main dashboard. And so they know when people have done it as well. No, I mean, so the carrier that I was with before, I mentioned that they're a Farm Bureau, and that we didn't really have they had an app. They said they had an app. It wasn't really an app. The online registration stuff wasn't good. So really, it's not as beneficial for me as it could be, because a lot of those people, I just email them the list, and I'm like, hey, I know that you don't use the thing, because they would contact me all the time to do stuff for them, which is fine. But so I can't really use the link for that. But really, anybody else, like, it pulls like a PDF copy of the old carrier that I had, which is fine. That's more side than your side. But yeah, I mean, any other carrier, I've had maybe one carrier that doesn't connect to it. But no, man, anytime I just throw it out there. I usually like to ask them just what carrier they have, just to kind of get the conversation started, and then I'll send the link out there, and it rocks and rolls. Just kind of ties it more, makes it feel more familiar to them if I get to use that in the reply. Even some of these people that, I'll share the screen. A lot of these people that haven't completed it, you get the vast majority of their information here. And so we'll go back. I'll have my CSR every now and then run through and pull the emails and pull the stuff. And we'll say, hey, we see that you attempted to do the InsurGrid thing, and some people get halfway through it, or they may not have all the driver information or whatever, so it'll stop. And so I like that it's color coded like that to show us, and so we'll just go through and copy those. And they'll be emailing my prospects. I don't put it out for you, but we'll do it that way. It just it does, all in all, I mean, it just helps you close more. So there's all sorts of little ways that you can use it to your advantage. But we'll send a follow-up email, and people will then go back into it. We'll send them the link again. They'll go back in and finish it, or they'll email us the deck pages directly. But, to answer the question on what the number will look like now, I mean, it wouldn't be that, because it's the speed that you can get all the information is so crucial, because it has saved me probably 2 or 3 emails with each client, just from having to go back and forth. Hey, okay, well, thanks. I got everybody but your son's driver's license, or I got everybody but. And I also look at it from a E&O standpoint, in that when you're asking them to put all the drivers in their household and they don't put it there on the front end, that's on them for not telling you that the driver was in the household. That's their first kind of where they're trying to be sly and sneak it in. But it is, man. It's just it's huge. I can't thank you guys enough for building this thing out.
Hey, I appreciate that. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm driving back from a meeting.
Yeah, man, you're good.
Okay, perfect. Now, pretty cool. I came in this morning, man. It's like Christmas in July. I gave the link from my office manager, CSR, gave the link to a client. I could have never quoted this without the deck page. Home, auto, turns out that he has a brother that's living with him. They have a house that's worth about $700,000. They have an umbrella policy, and I would not have been able to quote that and give him a fair quote. But now I have all the information. He has like a $3,500 deductible on his homeowners. I would never quote a $3,500 deductible. So this thing, I'm 2 for 2. So when I get back to the office, I'm going to see how my CSR is with, do we have any carriers that's beating it? So, man, I'm loving this product. Loving it.
We didn't even touch on tying it into your, the rate or the quote submission form on your website, all that stuff. Like, there's so many. I'm drowning right now trying to get the independent off. I work till midnight just about every night, and so I haven't even been able to maximize it. I mean, you're talking Facebook leads. Like, I'm sure there's some other verbiage and some copy that you could come up with to kind of convert more of a cold lead like that. But if you got somebody on your website going through the quote form, and you can say, hey, kind of the same template, you can click here to make it quick and easy, or you can kind of do it the hard way and go this way. But sky's the limit on what you can do with this thing.
Chase, I want to thank you for taking the time. You helped me quite a while ago on adding the link onto my website. And doing that, we had somebody randomly at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night upload all their documents. And like the other gentleman said, I couldn't have done this without it, because there were like, it was well over $4,000 worth of premium, and we're hoping to bind her today. And we're saving her so much money, thousands. And she's a doctor. I think she's a doctor, so it's hard for us to reach her, but she has multiple landlord policies, home, multiple autos, multiple people. And it's just like magic, like what Josh said. It's pretty fantastic. So thank you for taking the time and getting on the horn and getting that implemented on my website. And if y'all haven't done it yet, I highly recommend it, because it's like Christmas in July. You just have random things popping up to you. So it's pretty great.
No, I'm so happy that you implemented and that someone just came through from your traffic. And I can show everyone what that looks like. So yeah, so this is the website that we just put it was on Squarespace, right, Jane?
Yes, on Squarespace.
Yep. And so we just added a page, and then there's just some HTML code that we just put in, and then so it's just insure417.com/quote. So it doesn't actually say InsurGrid, but yeah, it's all right there. That's such a cool success story. And did they come in randomly? What was the story?
Never heard of them before. I came into work the next morning, and there was an email that documents had been uploaded. I talked to my team. They'd never heard of her before, hadn't talked to her before. And so when I think it was Casey who reached out to her, and she just said, I found you online and just submitted my documents, because no one else was giving her this option. And she wanted an agent. So we got it simply because we had the site and because we had your company. I use it for everything I possibly can. If I can print it on toilet paper and put it in gas stations, I would do that. We've used it for everything. I use it. We have a system through Allstate where you can contact people that you've quoted in the past, and maybe you didn't get them then, but they're up for renewal now. So I've sent out like blast emails or text messages saying, hey, we didn't get you this time. We'd love to requote you. Here's a link. We've tried that. We've done it at Expos with the QR code. Now that I have the proper one, I can use that one, but I found mine just free on Google and use that, enter to win a TV. We've used it on texting when we're cold calling. We do a lot of outbound calls. So, hey, you don't have time, you're in the car, no problem. I'm going to text this link, click on it when you get to your destination, upload your documents there. So you can really use it for as creative as you want to get. Sky's the limit. Probably texting it to people and saying when we're doing outbound calls, and then whenever they get somewhere or they get to a stopping point, they can click on it and do it. The only issues that I have is if they don't know their login information, then I can't help you. But yeah, pretty simple.
I haven't tried it yet. I haven't gotten to the cold outreach aspect of it. I would think just tweak your verbiage a little bit. Just try it. I mean, if it's a cold lead anyway, just try some different copy and see what works a little better. See if it closes better. And then just a follow up, like, hey, just wanted to make sure you saw the link above. If it's 2 or 3 days later, and maybe just catch them at a better time.
Yeah, we're definitely doing the follow-up. So if you send an email, we usually send 2 follow-up emails like, hey, just following up on this link, and sometimes they say, hey, my husband does the insurance. And so we send a note, hey, have you been able to share this with your husband? So that seems to be, that process is working pretty well. And then also, I like the fact you were showing the incomplete status. We're doing the same thing with those. We go through those a couple times a week and, either send an email, give a call, because then you obviously had some interest or you wouldn't have clicked on the link. So how can I help get you to the finish line? So limited. So we've definitely had some people click on the link. Those are most of the incomplete apps we get, or folks that click on that. We did add it to some direct mail we're doing, and we've gotten a couple of those where, they may have called anyway, but, when they fill out the InsurGrid link, it obviously is easier for us to do the quote. And then I've been using it and my staff has been using it somewhat like Josh is. We have somebody, either we know, a personal connection, whatever, and it just makes the process simpler. Like, just send me your stuff. I mean, we've all seen it, they'll white out or put Post-it notes over the rates and stuff like that. And I'd rather see the whole deck page and know exactly what I'm competing against, and so I can position it appropriately. So definitely using it there. Just really trying. We do a lot of prospecting and kind of more cold leads, and so really trying to figure out how to make it more effective there. And nothing against InsurGrid, just want to make sure we get every possible deal we can get.
Sure. Are you with are you captive or are you independent?
Yeah, I'm with Allstate. So I purchased existing agency back in November. Okay. And it's a pretty good sized book, but the agent was just kind of coasting. And so we really tried to ramp up the volume. And so, obviously cross-selling the book, working centers of influence, but also, bringing leads into. So.
Well, I think too, you can kind of leverage the brand a little bit on that too. And, mention that in your cold outreach. And that helps. People have heard of Allstate. So, it helps. Me, Providence, like people have no idea who that is. So just kind of anything you can tie it together to kind of make it a little more affirming. I think that would be beneficial.
Gotcha.
I think every carrier has their own, specific stuff that they need to look for. Some people probably want to ask the dog question. There's a few, but really for me, it's just if I can get the quote and get it in front of somebody, and then we can finish out the rest of it on the back end and make sure we've got everything correct. Well, you can always pose it, just the sheer time save of it all. And then, the E&O aspect of it to where you're not undercutting coverages, you're not changing deductibles. Like it's all very accurate. Like I like it just to know that the accuracy of my work is there. And you do how much time do you spend getting a quote? How many of these, you just pitch it to them as saving time and being able to close more business. But that's all we're looking to do as agents is time is valuable, and the more time that I can save, then that's a higher close rate for me.